Hi everyone.
Yes, it's just.
Welcome back. We're here now for a little talk, a little workshop on leadership. Don, who is a coach himself and helps people to find their own leader, to find their way to lead their lives and help other people like in their lives. I'm happy to have him here and to help us finding our own leader and finding out what it means to be a leader and how we can be many leaders together to create something.
So, thank you everyone. So, after that, you're all leaders. I could just leave right now with that, but that's probably not what you came here for. I think as humans, we're actually really, really good at leadership. We just put one hell of a lot of things in the way of letting that flow through in between us. So, that is the time I should be starting this workshop.
You're so busy, you just got like phone calls to answer. You're practically the
structure
president.
of time is crazy. So, you know, as humans, we wouldn't be in the position that we are on this planet right now if we weren't really, 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 really fucking good at organising. You put a group of people together, we can organise in larger groups than the other sort of primates that are there. We've got higher language, we can construct stories around the world, we can communicate those stories, we can use them to navigate, and we can create amazing things and get ourselves into a lot of trouble. But look at the position that we're in on this planet and look at the impact. So there's two pieces to this that I want to talk about. One is there's how we've done it up until now. You put a group of people together, we will organise. That's kind of led us to where we're at right now. But to get us beyond the existence that we've had up until this point is going to take something else. It's going to take something more. And I think the wisdom traditions throughout, a lot of history have been all pointing in the same kind of direction. And my personal belief is the time that we're living in now is the time to really drop into that stuff because we need it. As a culture, I think part of the reason that we're here as Greening Man is like we've been burning shit. We're really, really good at burning shit. And because we've burnt so much shit, we're in trouble. We need to build. Organising and burning stuff is easy. Organising to build and construct and recreate is going to take something. So just as by way of a kind of introduction and us just dropping in, I just want to quickly go around, and because I know there's a few new people who've arrived, and just quickly just share your name and what leadership means to you in a word. If you can, like a word or two words. Nathan, would you lead us off?
My name is Dancing Bear, and leadership is doing something that you do really well so that you can teach others as well.
Thank you.
I'm Dave. It's me. Leadership is anything that's not partnership, so leading more than two people.
Okay.
And it takes a little bit of effort and skill sometimes to do that.
Hi, I'm Erin. Leadership to me takes love. Love for yourself, love for others, and I feel love for what we're going to create.
Can bounce back there?
Sure. My name's Kieran. I think leadership is like responsibility of self first.
My name's Mark Rock. I'm probably going to agree with a little bit of what everyone says. Right now what's coming through me is the word servant leadership. And how that translates is actually seeing the unique gift of each person and helping try and navigate that towards a common ground where we all work together.
Daryl, and leadership to me is again just like basically what he said, building the community, seeing everybody's strength and
bounce down here again. My name's Andrew, or Calming Stag, and leadership to me is a combination of teaching and learning.
I'm Jerry. To me, leadership is the act of inspiring action, either in myself or another.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. To me, leadership is inspiring others, either in action or depends on what it is, what's being led. So, but you know, somebody that has almost like a natural, energetic ability to lift people into a different sort of space, like inspiring and bringing creativity out of other people, and also making other people rise into the feeling of being leaders themselves.
I'm Joel, and I see leadership as there's multiple types of leadership and ways, and like you can lead forcefully and you can lead all kinds of, but to me, I think of the leadership, the best kind of leadership, I think it's like having a vision, taking initiative, and kind of inviting the leadership in everyone, kind of like a cooperative, most cooperative kind of. To me, that's like the best kind of leader.
My name is Carol, and leadership for me is just one of many ways to contribute.
My name is Ofri, and for me, leadership starts with connection.
Thank you. So what I want us to do is, what I'm intending to do in this workshop is, like, rather than talk a lot about leadership, I want us to actually have a look at what we're putting in the way and to actually do some practice with a group of people that are here right now. So the invitation is here to drop into some vulnerability and take some risks. But to be able to do that, I think we need a little bit of at least some agreements around it. So I just want a quick sort of, yeah, I'm okay with that, or no, I'm not. And if it's no, I'm not, let's have a quick discussion about it and see if we can get things straight. So the first one of them is, if it comes up that people share things that are vulnerable to them, whatever people share, to actually hold that confidential. So you don't go away from this weekend and say, oh, that guy Mark, he spilled the beans about, this time to not do that. So your experience is your experience, anybody else's experience and their stories are theirs. So is everybody willing to hold that?
yeah.
Okay, great. Second one is, as we go round, your participation is voluntary. Anybody may pass. If there is something that you do not want to do, there is no judgment. Take a step back. That is okay. And this is within the sort of bigger agreement of being responsible for yourself. So your own well-being, whatever is going on for you, stuff might get driven up that you might need a moment to, walk away from and just say, I'm not okay with this right now. All of that is okay.
Sorry, I got.
I just think the dog is like destroying the grove. Dog, no. You're gonna get kicked out.
So all of that is okay. My invitation is for everybody to just take responsibility for themselves and responsibility for your own experience. Everybody aligned with that?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, I don't think there's any other agreements here. If anybody else thinks there's anything else that we need to put in the space so that people can feel safe.
No punching.
Yeah, no punching is good.
What's with you in the violence? You think we're all a bunch of evil, dark assholes?
I have my own history.
Oh boy. So you're the puncher, huh?
Anyway, let's.
So it's you we have to be afraid of in the night.
In navigating through life, like I think our human way of navigating, and I think the studies with primates and great apes and stuff, there's a vast literature on how they organise. And with us, it's exactly the same. It's just we've got different and more rich tool set that we use to navigate. So I believe the way that we do it is we have emotions, and our emotions are part of our human operating system. It's just part of the basis of like who we are and how we operate. So Josie, just bring you into this. A couple of agreements I just want to bring you up to speed on. One is confidentiality, meaning anything that anybody shares stays with you. You don't share anybody else's experience outside. Yeah. Okay. And the other one is taking responsibility for yourself. So if there's anything that you feel that you need to do to take care of yourself, that you just go ahead and do it. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, that operating system, like our emotions, it's like, anger comes up, or fear, or grief, or whatever it may be. Those are all just part of our human life. I think dogs have, similar things as well. I think it's why we get on so well with dogs, is they have a very similar emotional makeup to us. So we project a whole bunch of stuff onto dogs, and they seem to respond in ways that we kind of expect, and so we can form relationships that can be really close. I know I lost my dog last year, and that was devastating. So that operating system that we have of our emotions is really powerful. It's hardwired, we're born with it, we navigate with it, and it works up to a point. Along with that emotional makeup, we create stories about who we are and how the world is. So the model that I work with, and I don't intend this to be the absolute truth, but what I know works for me, is I believe when I came into this life, I didn't have a lot of cares in the world apart from food, staying warm, and getting a clean diet. That was pretty much what I had to start off with. And then there was, this is an interesting world, I'll go and explore. And that worked. And then, at some point, there were some experiences that I can point back at, where all of a sudden the world became unsafe. And I had an experience which was locked in my emotional body that I made some judgments on. Now, to just out myself around a lot of my formative stuff, I had a difficult relationship with my mother. It's taken me a long time to work through a lot of that. But what I learned early on was, if I behaved in a certain way, that the giver of life, the most important person in my world, would react. And some of it seemed really unpleasant and unsafe. When I first saw my mother angry, I had an experience I can recall, and I don't know whether I'm making it up, but this is what's here, of like when I was about 4 years old, that me and my family, we were going to go into Birmingham shopping. I had 4 elder sisters. This was hell for a 4-year-old. So I said to my mum I didn't want to go, and she flipped, and it looked like she was going to hit me. And I remember, at least in this memory, my dad intervened. Out of that, the story that I made up was, I have to get really, really good at predicting where other people are and manage their emotions to keep myself safe. So that gets locked into my emotional body. If I get triggered, it's just like, shit, that was me. Right, what have I got to do now? How have I got to structure things and how have I got to behave so that that dangerous thing goes away? And the thing is, it was a made-up story. I made up that my mother was unsafe. And that was in the way of my relationship with her until after she died. But I believe equally all of us have made up things about the world, what's safe and unsafe, what we can be with and what we can't be with, who other people are and who they aren't, that has us navigate through the world. And a lot of those assumptions just remain unchallenged. So my assertion here is that stuff is in the way of us as humanity getting to where we need to go. And in microcosm, it's happening right here, right now. Because I have judgments that I'm projecting onto all of you, people I've met, people that I haven't met, about who I believe you are and who you aren't, what I could trust you with, whether I even trust you in the first place, whether I want to spend time with you or avoid you. And all of that has nothing to do with you. Zero. It is all shit that I walked into this grove with, that I'm carrying from my past experience, but I'm still going to use it to navigate this one. So here's an invitation. If we can drop that, or at least become aware of it, then more possibility becomes available. Because if, like, I could approach Jerry and just share the first idea that comes into my mind and have no fear about doing that, maybe that's the inspiration that's going to light up and create something. And that, to me, is the relationship and breaking up these kind of stories with leadership. I believe that we all are leaders. And because of the way that we navigate the world through all of our stories, we hold ourselves back. Individually, we live a smaller life because we're trying to make sure that we can stay safe while we do that. And with other people, there are ways that we've practiced that it's just like, I can interact with them like that, that's okay. But if I interact with them like this and maybe share myself, then that's not safe. I'm putting myself at danger by doing so. But it's an assumption. You don't actually know. And the fear that you experience that holds you back from doing that, whether you're actually directly aware of the fear or not, is just the boundary between what you know, because what your stories tell you is true, and what you don't know. And what you don't know on the far side of that boundary is the world of all possibility. So to bring that back to the state of the world right now, there's a whole bunch of fear that's happening. I mean, we can see that. It's in the news media, it's everywhere, and people have got angry and disappointed and resigned and scared, and the world looks black and white, and there's all these people who won't talk to each other because we've got all these stories that have been reinforced about who we think those other people are. And until we break that up, I think we're going to stay in serious trouble. So the invitation here is, let's practice with breaking some of that up and see how we can extend it to the rest of the weekend. Okay, you with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody want to run away screaming right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you gonna?
No.
Thank you.
I just want to look as cool as Mark did yesterday, running out there.
What makes you think you're that?
Oh.
You got a story about yourself and about the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just to point to it right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for bringing it. Okay. So we've got a group of people to practice with, and I've got a few questions, and these are just going to be like internal reflection, and we'll just do a bit of sharing. So just to ground in, if you can just get your feet like, Yeah, if your feet aren't flat on the floor, put them flat on the floor. Close your eyes, take a couple of just deep breaths. Okay. So just internally, I want you to just go through all the people who are in this space with you right now. So you've probably seen them when they were sharing to start with. So you know everybody who's here. You've seen them, you've got some relation to them. Okay? So no answer necessary, this is just for you. Who in this group here will you avoid? Who in this group here do you trust? Who in this group here is hiding something? Who in this group here are you drawn to? Now a couple of questions for you personally. How, right now, in this moment, are you defending yourself? How, right now, in this moment, are you avoiding intimacy? Who would you be if you didn't have any of those judgments? Okay, you can open your eyes again. Okay, as a step into the unknown, is anybody willing to share anything that they just learned?
It's just a comment. It was difficult for me to answer the questions because I don't know the people that are here, and I felt I would have needed more time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's perception, there's the first impression, that's one thing. But as a being that's getting older and get more maturity, we also learn through our experience that it takes time to make an idea of things.
Cool. So can I just reflect something back?
Yeah.
So you've got a story about how it is to navigate through a group, that you need more time, and you can't make a first impression.
And what?
And you can't trust a first impression.
No, I trust my feelings, but I'm also aware that it's also good to take a little bit of time. That's something that I learned and that I use.
Gotcha. So it's a learned behavior.
Yes.
Okay, so we can put it as like that is a story that you have about how to work with people. And it sounds like it serves you.
Yes.
Where is it in the way of you?
It's not. It's not in the way of me. I don't see it as being in the way of me. It serves me because it protects me. I could also, be inclined to share something intimate with someone, thinking that the person is safe, and I get to know that person, and the person is not.
Gotcha.
So it goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
I could be scared and not go, and the person is amazing, or the opposite. I can think,
Beautiful example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Anybody? Yes, Mark?
Yeah, I have absolute judgment and feelings about absolutely every single person. I can look at them and immediately it's either I go to, I don't even have to have a thought. It's just like, oh, my body feels closer or further away from this person. And that I feel holds me back from being full with everyone. So I'm unconscious to my unconsciousness until I take a moment to, oh yeah, this person, if I feel closer, I have no idea who they are, but my body has a reaction. So it impedes me of being liberated, to be free, to be connected to each and every person. And I do look back at it as based on, yeah, you brought up family. I had a militaristic father who was an alcoholic. So men, I have an immediate different type of reaction to a mother who is very protective, but unable to communicate almost anything to do with emotion. So I have a different type of reaction to the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And now you put a feminine man in front of me, or a masculine woman. It's like, oh, it gets really complex. So that's my sharing, that there's layers of my subconscious that affects me of being able to be a liberated leader. I'm really conscious of it, and yet I'm unconscious to how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, for me it was actually like kind of a beautiful thing, because when you said like who would you be repulsed by or something, I mean, maybe you didn't say that, but you said something like that, and I was like, geez, like I don't really feel that way about anyone. And then I was trying to picture all the people here, and I'm like, okay, if there was anybody who I wouldn't want to talk to, like it was actually hard for me. And then when I finally decided on like the people, I immediately recognized that, it definitely didn't have anything to do with these people, these two people, it was based on, me being like, they're the most likely to be religious. So, I was like, don't talk to them about crazy shit, because they might not like it. And that's why I was like, those are the least likely to be the people that I'll talk to, because I'll probably say something to offend them.
Great awareness. Thank you. Okay, one more shot.
I've always had trouble with understanding my own defense mechanisms. I really can't define them. I know that they're there. I see them. They kind of just come out of me, complete natural, and I know that they're like holding me back because they are so natural. But it's just like a part of my being that I just can't sort of break into. It's like, I don't know if there's like walls there, or if there's, I don't know. Maybe
hopefully out of this we'll give you some tools, and if you want a longer conversation, we have time. So,
fair enough.
So, thank you. So all of this, we've put it together to help us navigate the world and keep us safe. We don't know whether we're going to be safe or not on the far side of this. Hence we've got this wall of fear. And when fear comes up, we can have a bunch of different reactions to it. Like we can put on our fear persona, which might look like, or it might look like, we can shrink, we can put anger out there, we can blame, we can, find something else to do, or restrict our circle, or whatever it may be. But I believe the fundamental need that we're all trying to meet, which is so hardwired that we're just not aware of it, but we do it the whole time, is we're all looking for belonging, all looking for a connection, all looking to be part of a group and be accepted. And the reason that it's there, and that we can't see it, and that it's so deep, is that a human being on their own in the middle of the savannah is tiger meat. Simple as that. A human being on their own is dead. They're gone, they're out of the gene pool. So our genetic makeup has this hardwired thing, you gotta be with a group. And you've gotta figure out how. Because if you don't figure out how, you're dead. So there is this massive evolutionary drive to figure out who you are in a group, position yourself and find a way to survive. Yeah.
Can I also add too, within a group, it's critically important to know what other people think about you, because in a tribal setting, the tribe turns against you because you're not aware. That's a life or death thing built into us from generations and generations. It's a powerful force, this desire to know what other people are thinking about you and to attempt to navigate and control and
So thank you, and that segues beautifully, because it's the currency of connection is trust. If you choose to trust, then navigating through life means that you don't have to defend yourself anymore, because nobody's going to fuck you over. However, that's not necessarily true, because there may be people who would abuse your trust. From the child conversation, from the really young conversation, taking a risk and trusting is almost impossible, because those survival strategies that you built up at a very young age, they were critical. Your psychological survival depended on you presenting yourself to the world, and the world presenting itself to you in a way that you could trust. So when you made up those survival stories, you collapsed the world down to this little piece that you could trust. The difference is you're an adult now, and with a few notable exceptions, there are few ways that people can actually damage you in that way. Your psychological survival is not as risk as much as it is for a child. But there is still this fear that, if somebody reacts to me that way, then I'm not going to be able to be with it. And that's part of the process of maturing, is there's more and more range that we have, and more stuff that we can be with. But we still operate from this place that, we can't go across that boundary, because if I go across that boundary, shit's going to happen. And we behave as if that boundary is real. And the way that that shows up is we've got our own internal story, and then we encounter other human beings, and we project those stories onto those other human beings. So it's not as simple as a judgment as I can trust them, I can't trust them. There may be an entire personality that suddenly arrives with another person that you've just encountered, and it's just I'm going to avoid them because they're a sort of crystals and fluff kind of person, and I had that situation before, and it's just they drove me fucking nuts, so I'm not going to go there. And it has nothing to do with the person that you've just encountered, but they've triggered maybe just even a little bit, and you rush to this judgment. And this is another bit of our human makeup, is we have a negative, I think they call it in psychological circles, negative evidence bias. And it's basically, again, really deep and really hardwired, because very few people died from seeing a saber-toothed tiger that wasn't there. But those who saw one that was there, pretty much they had a better chance of survival. The other ones got eliminated from the gene pool pretty quickly. And as it is with people, it's like if you come across somebody and you judge them as an enemy, as long as your needs are being met elsewhere, then judging them as an enemy is probably still going to lead to your survival, as long as you've got an in-group. If you're out of an in-group, judging somebody as an enemy is probably a really bad idea, because you need to get into that group to survive. So hence, tribes and all the way that we've kind of structured the way that we live on the planet. They believe this, they believe that, and I'm with these guys because they believe what I believe, and those guys are just shit, and I'm not going to trust them. But my needs are being met over here, so who cares? So this belonging piece is really important. Trust is something that we tend to hold back on the basis of the stories and what we've made up about the world, about ourselves and other people. So we've got a quick exercise to do. In fact, I've got 2 exercises and we're going to do them both really quickly. So the first is, you've gone through the judgment piece and like judging other people around here and what you may be projecting onto other people around here. I want to imagine you to just quickly close your eyes again and go back to that first exercise. There was possibly, I'm going to assert there is one person in this group who you had the strongest reaction to, either positive or negative. Who from your past does that person remind you of? So the awareness piece here is that is not the person that you're encountering. There's an invitation here to actually find out over the time that we have here who that person is. And notice that you have a projection. And that overcoming that projection, that other person that you're projecting that onto is a gift for you in this space, in this time. Because you're going to be able to diffuse a bit of your defense mechanism that otherwise you'd never have seen if that person wasn't here. So my invitation is use the time on this weekend to actually approach that person and have a conversation and see what happens. And just to give one from my experience, when I went through a men's weekend 4 years ago now, there was a guy who triggered the absolute fuck out of me. He was just this asshole who ran off and didn't care about anybody else and was just bothered about winning and triggered the hell out of me. And he's now my best friend. Simple as that. Because what I could see, what I was projecting onto him, was actually power within me that I hadn't yet been ready to claim, and it was far easier to put it out on this fucking arsehole who I didn't want to be with, and hold myself in that place of being lesser, and it's okay, I'll be at the back and just running along behind everybody else, that's fine. But really, I was holding one hell of a lot of anger that I wasn't out there in front of. And by encountering and overcoming that, I got to own far more of myself. So, last exercise to leave you with. Can you quickly put yourselves into groups of 3? Go.
We're already in groups of 3.
Oh yeah? What? Us 3?
Done.
Okay.
Yep. Lots of guys.
Okay, 3,
Wait,
3, 3.
don't even have to move.
Oh man, I didn't even do the math. That worked out perfectly. Okay, so here's the exercise.
I like how you let your jaw loose on that one
Okay,
too.
here's the exercise. One person goes at a time, and if you can like stand facing each other, so like equilateral triangle, each person can see everybody else.
We're being
Sorry, I can move over there
We're
if you
being
want.
so
I'm
lazy.
actually,
Okay.
I should move there. One man move.
If we all
So we've gone through this piece of looking at your judgments, looking at your projections, and there was the question that I posed, without those, who would you be? Now we're going to reverse that. And one person at a time. Okay, everybody who's going to go first, put up your hand now. Okay, that's all you needed. Okay, so the person that's going first, the other 2 people are going to reflect to them what is their brilliance, their genius, the wonderful qualities that you can see in them.
I'm glad you
They
said you were
might not
going
even be able
first.
to see or believe that they have themselves. And we're going to go for like 90 seconds. So it can be popcorn. The other two people, all you do is just say, I see in you this.
And what
for
does
the
the main person do?
It's
They
just
just
the person
stand
who
there.
put their hand up, they're just going to stand there and take it, and the
Okay.
only response is thank you. Ready? Go.
I see you as a natural leader.
Thank you.
I see that you have good organization. And I see that you bring light and openness to the people.
Thank you.
Okay. I see, yeah, I definitely see leadership as well. I'm pretty sure I see some good, healthy fatherly figure stuff. See a man who seems to be aging quite well.
Yeah, I see youthfulness.
Yeah.
Youthfulness and
Style.
yeah, style and yeah, just
Research.
this-
A good researcher.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I see it.
And yeah, some kind of word like I want to say like ambidextrous, but not the meaning of ambidextrous, like
multiple channels feeding into one
mul-
thing.
yeah,
Like
some
can draw
sort of
multiple things into any
yeah,
objective.
multi-talented slash multi-faced. Like you're not just this one. You don't seem like you're just this one person, because you're a lot different than what I actually expected you were going to be. And then I also see that sort of changing, so that's pretty cool.
And I see a person who's definitely willing to take one hat off and put the other hat
Next
on.
person, put
Not
up your
wear
hand
two
right
hats
now.
at once.
Thank you. Who's next?
Okay, go.
Okay, I see like a real gentle, loving energy, like somebody who's very comfortable with who they are and is just here to be themselves. And so I see like a lot of authenticity and just like grounded, anchored sort of energy that feels very inviting and trusting.
Thank you.
You've got a great voice.
Like for talking or singing. Like
I haven't sung yet.
I haven't heard him sing, so.
Oh, like just, I want to hear your voice now.
Thank you.
You're supposed to say thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Yeah, it's good.
I also see, yeah,
You're supposed to say thank you.
kindness. Just soak this shit up, Daryl. Just fucking soak it up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Honesty, kindness. Somebody trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, I see somebody that like that people like, you know, like
Last 10 seconds.
you're like very likable for, I think, for a lot of people, and that you have a certain type of energy that people will feel comfortable
Okay.
talking to you.
Last thank you.
Thank you.
Take a breath. And go. Last person.
Okay. Oh my God.
You're just so outgoing.
You're very comfortable with yourself.
And I think that leads to no dull moments.
Yes.
So much energy.
Thank you. I mean,
You've got so much energy. And so much willingness to just step up and say, yeah, I'm here. Let's do it. Absolutely. No problem. No fear.
thanks.
Yeah, definitely see just a comfort in your own skin. Definitely, you're very comfortable with your exterior, and we like to express that. You seem to have a definition of it too. I don't know. Your presence in the world, you seem to have a definition of that.
There's a exuberance for life, enthusiasm that you have. It's extremely powerful, wonderful, juicy, awesome. Oh, big personality. Here I am. Yeah.
Mark is like, quiet down.
Last 10 seconds.
Also, definitely see somebody who would never judge anybody for opening up to them, which is easy to see. So everybody can just.
And last thank you.
Probably get a lot of people.
I do, yeah.
All that trustable.
Dumping the most
People do, yeah.
inner stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I actually had somebody who wanted to move away from me in vending because they didn't want to hear all the crazy people.
I love that.
So mean.
How do you feel now about the group of people that you
Because
just
people
shared?
would come tell me this crazy
And then being like,
We're best friends.
The lady next to me.
We're in the tribe now.
So, out of this exercise, there's two things that I'd like you to take away. One of them is you probably got reflected to you a bunch of stuff which is just like they can see. And you may have been trying to project that out to the world. I am this, and not actually showing to the world that you believe it. And now somebody's just coming along and saying, "Hey, I see that in you." You don't need all your strategies. You don't need to project that onto the world. It's who you are. It's how you show up. So if you could just own that and allow it to be there and trust that it's there, what would change? What would you drop? What are the acts that you no longer need? What are the masks that you don't have to wear?
Sorry, as a projection, you mean like what projection would you drop from what
Exactly.
they
What pieces over here that I'm presenting to the world don't I need anymore? If I actually believed what these other people just told me that they can see in me, all this wonderful stuff, if I could own that for myself, what would I stop doing?
Play the game.
Okay.
You can just be yourself without trying to fit into different boxes in different groups and try to fit. You just be yourself, and if people see it, oh, it's natural. I don't have to try hard.
Yeah, like I feel like I would be, without owning anything other projections, I would be the purest of me.
Bingo. Beautifully put. That's the piece right here. Because if we can, like, practice putting down our acts and believing that for ourselves, owning our own sovereign self that has all of these parts, all of the acts, we don't need them anymore. And from time to time they may be useful. I mean, there's a certain part of my survival stuff that's really good to have down the wrong end of a dark alley. But it's a choice. It's not who I have to show up as the whole time. So my invitation to just leave you with is what you just did is these groups of three. You don't have to have a workshop to do that. You can do it for people the whole time. Every time you get the opportunity to do it, by delivering it and by receiving it, you lift yourself up. And you're out of that floor of trying to navigate all of this stuff. And by doing that, see what opens.
Joel, you're like the most fabulous person I've ever seen.
Thank you. You can even do it sincerely.
Finish off. Let's just close with just a quick share. One word, what you're leaving with, and just make it real snappy and popcorn. And go.
Positive energy.
Gratitude for what you share.
Yeah. Deep sense of appreciation.
Vitality.
Self-respect.
Curiosity.
Clarity and confidence.
Relaxation.
Connectedness. Forgiveness.
An open heart.
Strength and vulnerability.
And power. For me, gratitude for you all being here and participating so fully.
Thank you.
What's coming
you.
up next time?
Thank you, John.